Hi everybody, Kirsten here, and I have a book talk today. So today I'm going to be talking about All the Bright Places, and this is by Jennifer Niven. I wanted to talk about this book while it's still kind of like really fresh. I literally just finished this book I want to say like a half an hour ago. I have been struggling to finish this book and read it. I started reading it a couple weeks ago and I got maybe a couple chapters in, decided it wasn't really the right time for me to read this, and so I decided to give it another try like a couple days ago. Got about halfway through the book and I just wasn't connecting with it. And so finally tonight I was like, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna finish this damn book because it's got 5-star ratings from almost every single person I know on Goodreads, and I just need to finish it and just bust it out. So I did that. I'm going to preface this video with saying this is going to be one of my first 5-star reviews where I actually didn't like the book. So throwing that one out there. So All the Bright Places deals with some pretty heavy subject matter. I feel like I'm probably one of the last people to have read this book. It does deal with a lot of mental health issues, teen suicide, things of that nature. And I did cry like crazy at the end, as anyone does when you're reading these kinds of books. But I just wanted to just kind of like take a minute to talk about some things real quick. It's really important for books like this to exist. Although I didn't particularly like the book, I know its significance and the importance of these kinds of books, especially for young readers and people that are going through depression and dealing with, you know, the labels that come along with a lot of disorders and mental health issues and all that. And I know it can be very hard and stigmatizing and just completely difficult to go through. And usually when people go through these kinds of things, they really always feel alone. But really, you don't need to be alone when you're going through these kinds of things. And it's always hard to get to a point where you know that you can get help and you can ask for help. But usually when you're trapped in these lows and the depression, it's really hard to reach out that hand for help. But just know that there's always someone out there that is willing to help you, no matter how alone or lost you feel, even if it's just calling a suicide prevention hotline or talking to friends online. Sometimes, you know, the strangers in our lives can really be the most help. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and go into this book. This is Jennifer Niven's first young adult book. She usually writes nonfiction or adult books, so I'm not very surprised that going into this book that it's very well written. It's beautiful. The prose are very flowery. It's a very beautifully written book. It's written well. My issue with this book is that I really felt like the characters themselves were stereotypical caricatures of what you think teenage depression is like. There's no snowball effect that's needed for depression to be there. There's, for certain, you know, not everyone needs that parental divorce or, you know, abuse or loss of a loved one to feel depression, to think about suicide. So in a way, the characters themselves were just caricatures of what they could have been. So that was one of the issues that I had with the book, is if I feel like I would have connected more with the book if the characters were more real. And they just kind of didn't seem very real to me. It's such an important book. It's so important to start these conversations and have a place to open up about them. And although I did have an issue with the characters in the book, it's a good starting place. It's a good jumping point for a lot of kids to be like, I really relate to this, so we need to talk about this. And even as a freaking 30-year-old adult, like, I connected to this story in a way, in a personal way, and on a personal level. You know, so this book I definitely would recommend for everyone to at least read, to try and read, just because it is so important to talk about and to have these conversations. And, you know, just kind of keep in mind that there's always going to be like one person in your life that's dealing with something that you don't understand, and to not judge them for it, just kind of give out a hand and help them. I want to talk about a couple things I did like about the book. I thought the whole idea of these wanderings that they did was really great. they get assigned a class project to wander around Indiana and to see the sights of Indiana, and I really liked that part of the story of them, you know, kind of breaking out of the normal routine of what they normally do and breaking out of themselves and going and doing all of these like cheesy fun things. And I love that part of the book. I do love the relationships that are, you know, cultivated throughout the book, and the character development, especially in Violet. You know, it's always really hard. She deals with a lot of loss in this book, and it's always really hard to bounce back from that. I like want to talk more about it, but it's just so sad. It's just a sad book, and it's a sad story, and it's a story that needs to be told. And you know, I want to be able to say, yeah, this is an awesome representation of what living with mental illness, but it does to a certain extent, but it's still, to me, just kind of a little on the shallow side of things. And although I did towards like once I like sat down and made myself read it, I just got sucked into the book, and yeah, like I said, I cried a ton. You know, I don't really think that this is really a comment and talk about kind of book in the comment section, but I just want any of you to know that if you're ever in a situation where you feel that you need to talk to someone, my Tumblr Ask Box is always open, and if you ever need to chat, I am there. I always reply to everything privately unless it's like a common question, so you don't ever have to worry about me publishing anything that everyone would see. So yeah, everybody, thank you so much for watching, and stay safe out there, and I will talk to you next time.